What is up, everybody? We're back here at King Film Sports for the NFL Week 17 picks and predictions here. Boy, do we have a loaded slate coming up this week, and it's pretty condensed, not spread out like in past weeks across multiple days. You obviously got the Thursday night game. The Monday night game is now on Saturday night between the Lions and Cowboys, and then you've got, I think, 11 or 12 games in the morning slate on Sunday, which will be absolutely electric there, and then you've got the afternoon slate, and then a pretty entertaining Sunday night game between the Packers and Vikings for that NFC wildcard spot. If you're interested in the playoff picture breakdown by me and predictions for the rest of the season, click in the top right corner. That video has been doing very well on the channel there. Thank you guys all so much for the engagement. Be sure to like that video and this one, and be sure to subscribe for the channels for a lot of important NFL content as we get into the conclusion of the regular season and start of the playoffs. So first here, let's get into the recap of the Week 16 that we had this past week. And as for the game predictions, we got 6 wrong, which is not too bad. We had a lot of upsets here this week. First, I lost the Texans-Browns because I thought Stroud was going to play earlier in the week, and he ended up not playing. Flacco was cooking, and Amari Cooper, a career day from him. So the Cleveland Browns won big in that one. And then the lock of the week, Lions -3 in Minnesota hit. So the lock of the week is now 13-3. If you guys have been following throughout this whole season, this is truly the best bet in sports, our free lock of the week here on King Film Sports. You can get all of the other locks and betting picks on college football, NFL, MLB, NBA, college basketball in the Discord link in bio. So you guys should join that as well. But you've got to be tailing us on this NFL free lock of the week, as we've been absolute money this year. Lions -3 hits. Then some other teams that I got wrong. Titans lost outright to the Seahawks. Looked like they were going to win that game, but they choked in the fourth quarter once again in that one. Then the Jags, Lawrence did end up playing, but this is just not the same Jags team that we saw earlier this season. Trevor Lawrence again got banged up, and their offense just is not working, and the defense isn't playing great either. Then the Cowboys lost narrowly to the Dolphins there. A lot of mistakes by both offenses, but Miami reigned supreme at home there, and they get a big win over Dallas. And then on Christmas, I lost 2 as well, as the Chiefs lose outright to the Raiders. The Raiders score 2 defensive touchdowns in a matter of 7 seconds there. Uncharacteristic from Mahomes in this Chiefs offense, just more of the same of what we've been seeing this season, but they still should have beaten this horrible Raiders team. Aiden O'Connell didn't even complete a pass after the first quarter, but it did not matter. Chiefs lose. And then the Niners on Monday night, Christmas, lose to the Ravens at home there. Brock Purdy, obviously, 4 interceptions there. Darnold had a late one as well, so that's 5 interceptions for this Niners team, and I'm not going to say it was close because it was 21 points at the end, but yeah, those turnovers really just turned the game for the Ravens' favor there, and so they get a huge win on the road, which is big for them, and obviously their number 1 seed hopes. So now let's get into the betting locks recap for this week. And not pictured here is I had the Saints +4.5 on Thursday night. That one was pretty frustrating, as Derek Carr and the Saints offense just seemed to march it down the field, but then they would always choke on 4th down. The Rams just moved it at will, though, against the Saints defense. I did not expect that. So this Rams team is just rolling. That Saints +4.5 bet did not hit, even though they had a bit of a surge late to only lose by 8 in that one. Now we get to the Saturday picks, which are seen here. We had the Bengals-Steelers under, and I think this one probably should have hit. There were 45 total points, I believe, so it was off by about a touchdown. And there was just so many explosive plays between these two teams. Pickens had 2 huge touchdowns, and then the Bengals had one of their own there. So just those explosive plays are not conducive for the under. But then we did have the Steelers +3, who won outright in big fashion against the Bengals at home there. That was a get-right spot, and they ended up winning by 23. Then we had the Chargers, got a great number on them, +14, but any number that you got there around 11 or 12 at game time, they hit easily there, as the Bills struggled to just win that game with 3 turnovers. They keep shooting themselves in the foot, but they at least won, which is big for their playoff hopes. And then now we get into the Sunday Christmas Eve plays here, and we had a lot going on in that Lions-Vikings game. Had the over 46.5 hit pretty easily with 54 total points there, as Mullins and that Vikings offense were moving it pretty well in their own right. Mullins, though, had a few big interceptions. I think he had 4 turnovers in the game. And then once the line got down to Lions -2.5, I added a second 2-unit play for all of our Discord subscribers there. So if you want to get in the action for these plays, then DM us on Discord once you join with the link in the description, and we'll give you the plays there. And it was looking good for most of the game, but then Mullins and the Vikings were driving late. But unfortunately for the Vikings fans, Mullins had a critical interception as they were moving it into Lions territory there. So the Lions held on to win the division and win that game outright against the Vikings. Then Texans -2.5, as I mentioned, this one was just brutal because I thought Stroud would play. But even if he did, that Browns offense was moving so well. I do not know if the Texans even stood a chance in that one. And then the Falcons -2.5. This one hit easily against the Colts there. The Colts were due for some regression. And Taylor Heineke, when he's playing for Atlanta, this team is much better, as I've been saying. Then the Titans +3.5. They really should have won outright. But Geno Smith leads the Seahawks to the win. But we still do get within the number there, as the Titans only lose by 3. Then, as I mentioned, Jaguars -1. Basically a money line spot. I just thought they'd beat the Bucs, even though it was on the road. They lost 3 straight. I thought this would be a bounce back spot, but no. This Tampa Bay team just looks like one of the best teams in the league, and the Jags look like one of the worst, which is pretty surprising to me. But given how those two teams were playing coming into that matchup, I guess that was to be expected. Then Cowboys plus 100. I just love the value on the bounce back spot for them, and they just had too many mistakes. I mean, that fullback fumble on the 1 yard line was just inexplicable for them there, and that's just what this team does on the road now, so I guess that's to be expected. Then we had the Patriots for a half unit plus 7. I just couldn't fully trust them to put a unit on it, but did see some value there, and they were up 23-7 in the third quarter, carried by that defense. Broncos did come back, but Patriots ended up winning that one out right there on Christmas Eve night. And then on Christmas, we had the Raiders plus 10. Not that the Chiefs would still win, but Raiders defense just carried them in that one. Then we had the Eagles minus 13, and I thought this one would hit easily at halftime as the Eagles were up 20-3. I just thought that this DeVito storyline was going a little too far, and I thought that the Eagles would be able to win. And it was. Then the Eagles had a couple of big turnovers on the kickoff with the fumble, and then the Jalen Hurts pick 6. And then DeVito gets benched. Tyrod Taylor's moving the ball for the Giants, so the Eagles still win. The Giants did cover the number there as it ended on 8. Then we had the Niners-Ravens over 45.5 there. There were a lot of mistakes between the offenses, but the Ravens capitalized on these Niners turnovers, so the over was able to hit there. I think 52 total points were scored in that one. So in total on the week, we were up 3 units. Could have been more, but still we'll take what we get there. And that ends a 5-week losing streak there. That was pretty disastrous for us and really took us down. But now we look to rebound, and that's what we did in week 16, and we hope to do that to end up the regular season. And in the playoffs now, we are up to 5.2 total units up on the year, and we look to increase that. Game picks are 158 and 82, so 66% on the year. So with that being said, now let's get into the week 17 predictions here. And we started out on Thursday night, pretty ugly matchup between the Jets and the Browns. I assume that Trevor Siemian will be starting for the Jets. It really doesn't matter. Against this Browns vaunted defense at home, I do not think that they stand a chance to win this outright. It's going to be the Browns to win big here. Their only hope is that Flacco throws them a few bones with these interceptions, because although Flacco has been great through the air, he's been throwing for 300, 400 yards, a few touchdowns, he has been throwing a few picks in these games, so watch out for that. That is how the Jets tend to win these games. They are very opportunistic, so we'll see if that ends up happening, but in this spot, I just think that you have to take Cleveland to win at home. Then we get to a very entertaining and meaningful game on Saturday night between the Lions and the Cowboys here. And I think that this is just a classic Cowboys spot to win this one at home. They've lost 2 in a row, but they haven't lost a home game in over a year. So I just think that they get right here. And the Lions really is an emotional letdown because that was a great win in Minnesota, but they're celebrating winning the division for the first time in 30 years. I just think that it's a tough spot. Even though Goff is in a dome here on the road, it's just a tough spot for them. They'll have to win in a shootout here, and I just do not think that they are capable of that. So give me the Cowboys to win, but I do think it will be close there. Next game, we get to the Sunday slate, and boy, is this one very important for both of these teams for the number 1 seed. Dolphins at Ravens here, and give me the Ravens to win this one. But boy, do I think it will be close, because the Ravens coming off of a short week all the way across country here to host this Dolphins team, and talk about the Lions being on emotional letdown. I think that the Ravens will be as well. They were very disrespected by being underdogs in San Francisco, and they took it to them, but that was a very physical game, and that was a very long game. Even though they were up a lot at the end, they still had to expend a lot of energy there. I think that they're the better team, and they are at home here, but I think that it will be very close. The Dolphins also got a big win, and they also have an extra day of rest against Dallas there. So I think that Mike McDaniel and this Dolphins offense will have a lot of trick plays dialed up. I think that they will call a great game plan, but when it's all said and done, I think that Lamar and the Ravens are just the superior team, and they will get it done in that one, however close it is. Then we get to the Bills and the Patriots. Bills obviously lost this game earlier in the season, and they've proven that they can't be trusted to beat even the worst of the teams in the league, although they are very talented. But still, I think they just run roughshod over the Patriots, considering that they already lost to them earlier this season. They will be very buttoned up, and they saw what could happen, almost lost to that Chargers team in LA, so I think that they will play very inspired here and win big at home. Then we get to the Bears and the Falcons. This one is very big for these two teams looking to get into the NFC wildcard here, 7th seed. And give me the Bears to win this one. I just think that Justin Fields has been playing too good at home here in Chicago. I know that Taylor Heineke played decent last week, but it was in a dome in Atlanta against the Colts defense, who are not very sharp. This Bears team with Montez Sweat, the defense has played a lot better, so I just think that the Bears are streaking right now. Justin Fields playing for his job, and I think that they get it done at home there. Then we get to an AFC South showdown, Texans and the Titans. Obviously saw these two teams play a barn burner in Tennessee a couple of weeks ago. I assume that Stroud will be back, although it has been a couple of weeks, so that's pretty concerning for them. But if Stroud is back, I think that they just win big. I think that this D'Amico Ryans Texans defense against Will Levis or Ryan Tannehill will cause trouble there. So I think that it might be lower scoring, but I just trust this Texans team more, so give me them to win at home in that one. Next game, we get to the Raiders at the Colts. In my video last night, I had the Raiders winning this game. That was really a gut decision because I saw that big win against the Chiefs on Christmas and then the Colts losing in Atlanta. But the more I thought about it, I'm giving the Colts this win just because I think that they're the more talented team. And this Raiders defense, as long as Gardner Minshew doesn't have some bad turnovers in this game, which he is capable of, but I think that he will button it up. I think that Shane Steichen in this offense will play very well and effective against this Raiders defense. And just do not think that Aiden O'Connell in this Raiders offense is good enough. So give me the Colts to get a much needed win at home there. Then we get to the Jags and the Panthers. Very ugly game here. Give me the Jags to win. Don't know if Lawrence is going to play, but this Panthers team, although that offense has been playing much better in recent weeks, I just think that they're so bad that Jags will likely win this game even on their 4-game losing streak. Then we get to the Rams and the Giants. I think this is a bit of a trap game for the Rams going into New York, but on this long week, Giants on a short week, tough spot for New York as well. So give me the Rams to win that one behind their talented offense. Then we get to the Cardinals at the Eagles. I think this one is a bit of a trap spot for the Eagles, but the Cardinals are coming off a tough road game in Chicago. They're only a 3-win team, so how much motivation do they have in this one? Jonathan Gannon going against his old team, obviously defensive coordinator for the Eagles last year. I don't know if that means a whole lot. This Eagles team does seem to be broken a bit, as you saw in this last month of football, where they've just looked not very good. So we'll see, but give me this Eagles team to win this one, although it might be close. Then we get to a very big game in terms of the NFC South, Saints and the Bucks here. And in this one, I'm going to take the upset. Give me the Saints to win this one. They are on a long week, and I don't think that these environments in the NFC South are particularly meaningful in these games. You always see these road teams play well in these NFC South games. The Bucks went into New Orleans earlier this season and won pretty easily in that one. And I just think that the Saints team will respond after being pushed around by that Rams team last week. I think that they will play a lot better. I think that Derek Carr will take it on his chest to win this game over this Bucks team, who are playing very well right now. So I think that New Orleans gets a huge upset in that one. Then we get to the Niners and the Commanders. Not a whole lot to say here. I think that the Niners bounce back. We'll see how that injury situation goes for them. Are on a short week here going across country, but this Commanders team is just one of the worst in the league there. So I think that they are just no match for this Niners team. So give me San Francisco to win on the road there. Then we get to the Steelers at the Seahawks. Very important for both of these teams' playoff chances that they win this game. Give me Seattle to win this one at home here. I think that Geno will be able to cook against the Steelers defense. And although Mason Rudolph did play well in his first start this season against the Bengals defense, I think going across country here against the Seahawks defense in that 12th man, it will be a very tough environment for him. And I just do not think he gets it done there. So give me Seattle to win at home. Then we get to the Chargers with the Broncos. I think that the Broncos win this one. I think that they bounce back off of a tough loss last week at home. They still are alive for the playoffs here, and Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, both very important for them record-wise and perception-wise within the Denver organization. So I think that they really want to get this win. And the Chargers really... You see this a lot of times with a team responding after their coach gets fired. They play very well. They were fired up in that Bills game, but they didn't get it done going on the road here in the Mile High. So give me Denver to win that one at home. And that brings us to our lock of the week this week. Bengals at the Chiefs, and in this one, I'm taking the Bengals and the points plus 7.5. I know that this Bengals team were riding a little too close to the sun, and they finally got burned against the Steelers there after the 3-game win streak. But I still think that Jake Browning is a decent quarterback in this league. This Chiefs defense is pretty good, but I think that the Bengals will be able to put up maybe at least 20 points in this game. And really just comes down to the fact that I don't think this Chiefs team is the same team that we've seen in the past few seasons here. So I think that the Chiefs will probably get this win, but I think it will be within the number there. I think it will be by less than a touchdown in that one. I think that we'll just see a close game there. And Mahomes in this offense can hopefully turn it around, but I do not think that they blow out the Bengals here. Cincinnati needs this one for their playoff hopes there. So I think we see a very close game in that one. And that brings us to the Sunday night game, Packers at the Vikings. Give me Green Bay to win this one big in Minnesota there. I think that this one will be very high scoring. The Vikings love to bring the blitz, and that leaves their back end very vulnerable. So I think that Jordan Love has the potential to have a monster day against this Vikings defense. And this Green Bay defense is very porous in their own right. So I think that Nick Mullins might be able to put up a good stat line as well, but he also has a propensity to make very dumb decisions. He'll probably have a couple of turnovers, maybe a pick six in this game that ends up losing the Vikings their playoff hopes there. So with all that being said, let me know what you guys think of my predictions in the comments down below. What do you think of my Cowboys pick, my Ravens pick, my free lock of the week, Bengals plus 7.5? Do you think that the free lock of the week improves to 14-3? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.